Good morning, everyone. The connectivity in undirected graph is the last topic we discussed in the last class, right? So how do we say that a graph is an undirected graph is a connected graph? How do we say that an undirected graph is a connected graph, right? So if there exists a path between every pair of vertices in the graph, then we say that it is a connected graph, right? What is a cut vertex? Cut vertex and cut edge also we discussed. Cut vertex is the vertex whose removal results the connected graph into a disconnected component. The vertex who yeah, the vertex whose removal disconnects a connected graph into disconnected. Right? So similarly with cut edge. So the edge removal results in a disconnected graph, right? Sometimes you may have to remove more than one vertex, then we'll call it as a vertex connectivity. Sometimes we have to remove more than one edge to make a disconnected graph. We'll call it as a cut set. Okay, this is the last topic we have discussed, right? Now in today's class, we'll see what is the connectivity in diagrams, that is in directed graph. The connectivity in directed graph we'll discuss today. Connectivity So we have three type of connectivities in directed graph. One is weakly connected. Wait for a while, ma. Types of connectivities in directed graph. First one is the weakly connected. Unilaterally connected. Strongly connected. We'll see one by one the definitions first. After that, we'll see with examples. Weakly connected graph. So a directed graph means you'll have directions to the edges, right? So weakly connected graph means after removing the directions, the directed graph will become an undirected graph, right? After removing the edges, if the directed graph is a connected graph, that means if that undirected graph is a connected graph, we'll say that it is a weakly connected directed graph. Is it clear? After removing the directions, the directed graph will become an undirected graph, and if that undirected graph is a connected graph, we'll say that given directed graph is a weakly connected graph. You know how to decide whether undirected graph is connected or not. How to decide it? Between every, if you are able to reach every vertex from every other vertex using a different path there, the path word is to be remembered. Clear? I'll say 8 examples also. Next, unilaterally connected means a simple graph is said to be unilaterally connected when for every pair of vertices, if at least one of the pair is able to be reached from either the vertex. If one of the pair is reachable from other pair in the vertex, from other vertex in the pair, then we can say that it is a unilaterally connected. That means if you have a pair A comma B, then either A should be reachable from B or B should be reachable from A. Either any one of these conditions should be satisfied. If any one of these condition is satisfied, then we can say that it is a unilaterally connected. And the opposite to this strongly connected. Strongly connected means consider any pair of vertices, then each vertex in that pair should be reachable from other vertex in the pair. That means A should be reachable from B and B should be reachable from A. Both are to be satisfied. Here A should be reachable from, B should be reachable from A and A should be reachable from B. Okay? So then you will call it as a strongly connected graph. Weakly connected means after removing the directions, the graph will become an undirected graph. If that undirected graph is connected, we'll say that it is weakly connected. Unilaterally connected means if for any pair of vertices, if any one of the vertex is reachable from other vertex in the pair, it is said to be unilateral. Strongly connected means every vertex in the pair should be reachable from other vertex in the pair. Is it clear? Now we'll see some examples on this. Consider this graph and this what type of connectivity is satisfied for this directed graph. You have to identify whether it is weakly connected graph or is it unilaterally or strongly connected. First we'll see whether it is weakly connected or not. Weakly connected means what? You have to remove the directions of the directed graph and make it an undirected graph. Remove the directions. When you remove the directions, the graph will be like this. After removing the directions, if every vertex in the graph is reachable from every other vertex, that means consider from A can we reach B? Yes, you can reach B. From A can we reach C? Yes, you can reach C. You can also reach D. Similarly, from B can we reach C? Yes. From B can we reach D? Yes. From C can we reach D? Yes. So every vertex is reachable from every other vertex after removing the directions. Therefore, this graph is weakly connected graph. Clear? Now we'll see whether it is a unilaterally connected graph or not. Unilaterally means consider pair of vertex. If any one of the vertex in that pair is reachable from other vertex, then we can say that it is unilaterally. Now consider the pairs of vertices. Now let us check whether A is reachable from B or not. Can I reach A from B? Yes, you can reach. B to D, D to A. Right? Can I reach? So yes, so no need to check for other condition. Here we are able to reach A from B. So if unilaterally condition. Who is that? One condition. In one direction you are able to reach. That is from B you can reach A. So no need to check for another condition for unilaterally. Now check consider A comma C pair. Can I reach C? Yes, you can reach C from A. So no need to check the other direction, in another direction. Now for A to D, can I reach A? Yes, you can reach A from D. D to A. Consider the pair B to C. So you can reach B from C. Now consider the pair B to D. You can reach D from B. Now for C to D, you can reach C from D. So when you consider all these pair, one of the vertex in the pair is reached from the other vertex in the same pair. Therefore, you can say that it is weakly connected graph. Clear? Is it clear now? Now let us check whether it is strongly connected. Sorry, unilateral connection is satisfied. Now let us check whether it is strongly connected or not. Strongly connected means both the directions the vertices should be reachable. So here, when you consider this A comma B pair, we have concluded that A is reachable from B. Let us see whether B is reachable from A or not. Can I reach B? Yes, you can reach B. You can reach B. How? A to B, there is a and edge. Now consider A to C. So A to C is possible. And let us see, can I reach A from C? Can I reach A from C? Yes, you can reach C to B, B to D, D to A. C to B, B to D, D to A. Now from A, for A and D, D to A is there is an edge from D to A. So A is reachable from D. From A, can I reach D? Yes. A to B, B to D. Now consider the pair B comma C. So C to B is there. Similarly, from B, can I reach? Yes. B to D, D to C. I can reach C from B. B to D, D to C. Now B comma D pair. So B to D is there is an edge. From D, can I reach B? Yes. D to C, C to B. Next is C and D. Consider this pair C and D. So D to C, there is a path. Sorry, there is an edge. From C, can I reach D? Yes. C to B, B to D. So for all the pair of vertices, the in both the directions, the vertices are reachable from other vertex in the pair. Therefore, you can say that it is a strongly connected graph. In this way, we can say whether it is strongly, which type of connectivity is the digraph is satisfied. Is it clear, ma? Have you understood? Okay. I'll explain for one more time. Listen carefully. The graph is given like this. So this is the given graph, right? So you have to check whether it is weakless, strongly connected. What type of connectivity is this graph satisfying? So three types of connectivities we have for directed graph, right? First, we'll check for weakly connected. Go and brush your teeth. Weakly connected. Weakly connected means remove the directions in the graph. Remove the directions. After removing the directions, the graph will become undirected graph. the graph becomes an undirected graph. If this undirected graph is connected, then given directed graph is weakly connected, This is the definition of weakly connected graph. Just after removing the directions in the directed graph, the graph will become the undirected graph. And if that undirected graph is a connected graph, then we can say that given graph is a weakly connected graph. Now let us remove the edges A, B, C, D. Okay. Now after removing the edges, when you observe this graph, it is a undirected graph. It is an undirected graph. In an undirected graph, from one vertex, if you are able to reach other vertices in the graph, then we can say that it is connected. So we will check whether, consider the vertex A. From A, can I reach B, C, and D? Similarly, from B, let us check I am able to reach C and D. From C, can I reach D or not? Right? So when you observe this graph, from A, I can reach B. From A, I can reach B. From A, I can reach C. From A, I can reach D. From B, I can reach C. From B, I can reach D. From C, I can reach D. Right? So now this undirected graph has become a connected graph. Therefore, the given directed graph is weakly connected. Is it clear? First, take down this if you are clear with this. Take down this. Unilaterally connected or not. For unilaterally connected graph, when you consider any pair of vertices, at least one of the vertex in the pair should be reachable from the other vertex. That means when you consider A comma B, either A should be reachable from B or B should be reachable from A. So let me consider all the pairs. We will check which vertices are reachable. Then we can decide whether it is unilaterally or strongly connected. Okay? So here, when you observe this graph, let me draw the graph here again. A. So consider the pair A comma B. So consider this pair A comma B. So when you consider this pair, you have a direction from A to B. That means you can say that B is reachable from A. You can say that B is reachable from A. From A to B, we have a direction. Therefore, B is reachable from A. Clear? If either A should be reachable from B or B should be reachable from A. So one is satisfied. Therefore, it may be a unilaterally connected. It has to be satisfied for the remaining pairs also. Consider the pair A comma C. Now for the pair A comma C, you have a directed edge from A to C. From A to C, you have a directed edge. Therefore, you can say that C is reachable from A. C is reachable from A. A to C is there. C is reachable. C is reachable from A. Now consider the pair A to D. A to D. When you consider this pair A to D, from D you have an edge, directed edge to A. From D we have edge. That means D to A there is a direction. D to A we have a edge. Therefore you can say that A is reachable from D. Reachable from D. And similarly consider the next pair B comma C. B comma C. In this pair, you have a directed edge from C to D, from C to B. So B is reachable from C. You can say that B is reachable from C because C to B we have a direction. Next BD consider. Consider BD. So B to D we have a directed edge. You can say that D is reachable from B. D is reachable from B because B to D we have an edge. Now consider C comma D. C comma D. From D to C we have a directed edge. D to C there is an edge. Therefore you can say that C is reachable from D. C is reachable from D because D to C we have an edge. Right? Now for all these pair of vertices in one direction, the vertices are reachable from the other. That means in the every pair, one vertex is reachable from other vertex in the pair. Therefore, you can say that the graph is unilaterally connected. It is unilaterally connected. Is it clear? Now we will see whether it is strongly connected or not. Strongly connected means what? When you consider any pair, both the pairs should be reachable from the other vertices. A should be reachable from B and B should be reachable from A. So here we have an edge to direction to B from A. That means B is reachable from A. Now we'll see whether A is reachable from B or not. Can I reach A from B? Let us see. So B to D, D to A. Through this path, you can reach A. B to D, D to A. So in both the directions, this connectivity is satisfied. Consider A to C. So C is reachable from A. We have already concluded that C is reachable from A using this direction. Now we'll see whether A is reachable from C or not. So C to B, B to D, D to A. Therefore, you can say that A is also reachable from A. C to B, B to D, D to A. D to B, B to D, D to A. Now consider the pair AD. So we have concluded that here A is reachable from D. We'll see whether D is reachable from A or not. A to B, B to D. A to B, B to D. Therefore, A to B, B to D. D is also reachable from A. Now consider this pair B comma C. B comma C. B is reachable from C. Let us check whether C is reachable from B or not. Can I reach C from B? Yes. B to D, D to C. B to D, D to C. Now consider B comma D. B is reachable from D. Let us check whether D is reachable from B or not. Can I reach D from B? Sorry, can I reach B from D? Yes, D to C, C to B. D to C, C to B. Now the last pair is C to D. C is reachable from D. Let us check whether D is reachable from C or not. Yes, C to B, B to D. C to B, B to D. So for all this pair of vertices, every vertex in the pair is reachable from another. Therefore, you can say that it is strongly connected graph. So the given graph is strong. If the graph is strongly connected, which means that it is unilaterally connected and weakly connected too. If a graph is strongly connected, it means that it is unilaterally connected and weakly connected graph too. Is it clear now? Take down. Is it clear now? Have you understood now? Okay. Please note down. Finished? Shall I erase it? Shall I erase? Now take one more graph. So whenever you're given with any directed graph, so instead of checking all the three conditions, it is better to check, go from down to bottom. That is, first we'll check whether it is strongly connected graph or not. If a graph is strongly connected, which it becomes, it means that it is also unilaterally connected and weakly connected too. If it is not strongly connected, then we'll check whether it is unilaterally or not. If it is unilaterally connected, it means that it is weakly connected too. If not, then we can check whether it is weakly connected or not. Suppose if you are going from weakly to strongly, then what you have to do? If it is weakly connected, again, then we have to check whether it is unilaterally or not. If it is unilaterally, it may or may not be strongly connected. That is the reason. Let us check whether it is the given directed graph is strongly connected or not. If not, then we can go with unilaterally. So now you are given with this graph. Now you tell me whether it is strongly connected or unilaterally or weakly connected. You try and tell me what type of connectivity is satisfied for this directed graph. You try and tell me. Is it not a strongly connected graph? 7D. Strongly connected or not? No. Okay. Yes, it is not strongly connected. Ma, it is weakly, unilaterally connected. Yes, very good. So here, when you consider the pair 1 comma 2, 2 is reachable from here. 1. Can I reach 2? Sorry. 2 is reachable from 1. Can I reach 1 from 2? When you see this diagram, you cannot reach. Similarly, consider the next pair 1 comma 3. Can I reach 3 from 1? 1 comma 3. When you observe this graph, can I reach 3? No, you cannot reach 3. Can I reach 1 from 3? 3 to 2 we have done. So I cannot reach 1 from 3 also. So here for this pair, none of this condition is satisfied. So none of the condition is satisfied, it is not unilaterally 2. It is not strongly connected. By considering this first pair, we can say that it is not strongly connected. Why? Because this condition is not satisfied. By considering the second pair, by observing the second pair, you can say that it is not unilaterally 2. Why? Because you cannot reach 1 to 3 or 3 to 1. Now let us check whether it is weakly connected or not. Weakly connected means what? Just remove the edges and check. 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4. So from 1 I can reach 2, from 1 I can reach 3, and from I can reach 4 also. Now consider from 2 I can reach 3, from 2 I can reach 4, 2 to 3, 3 to 4. Now from 3 I can reach 4. Therefore, you can say that it is weakly connected graph. It is not strongly connected and it is not unilaterally 2. 7D. Is it clear now? It is not unilaterally 2. It is only weakly connected graph. What about others? Have you understood, ma? Now, let me give you one more example. So consider this graph and tell me whether it is unilaterally, strongly or weakly connected. Whether it is strongly or not, you tell me first. Take this graph. If it is strongly, no need to check the other two conditions. Okay, it is not strongly connected. Is it a weakly connected? Sorry, unilaterally connected? Okay. Yes, it is not strongly connected, but it is unilateral. So consider this pair 1, 2. So from 1 you can reach 2. Can I reach 2 from 1? 2 to 1. You cannot reach 1 from 2. Now consider 1, 2, 3. Can I reach 3 from 1? From 1 I cannot reach 3. Can I reach 1 from 3? Yes, 3 to 4, 4 to 1. 3 to 4, 4 to 1. Now consider the pair 1 to 4. I can reach 1 from 4. Can I reach 4 from 1? From 1, I cannot reach 4. 2 to 3. I can reach 2 from 3. Can I reach 3 from 2? No, you cannot reach. 2 to 4. Can I reach 4 from 2? No, 2 to 4 is not possible. Can I reach 2 from 4? Yes, 4 to 1, 1 to 2. 3 to 4. I can reach 4 from 3. Can I reach 3 from 4? From 4, you cannot reach 3. So for all this pair of vertices, either condition is satisfied. Only one direction condition is satisfied. Only in one direction the condition is satisfied. Therefore, it is not strongly connected, but it is unilaterally connected. If it is unilaterally connected, no need to check weakly connected. By indirectly means it is weakly connected too. Clear, ma? So this is about the connectivity in undirected graphs and directed graphs. Is it clear now? Next concept is Euler graphs. Euler graphs. So Euler graph means a graph which contains Euler circuit. A graph which contains Euler circuit. So we should know what is a Euler circuit. Euler circuit. Euler ma. Euler circuit. So Euler circuit means a trail. A trail. We'll tell you what is a trail. Which starts and ends at the same vertex. At the same vertex. A trail which starts and ends at the same vertex. Trail means what? Trail means traversal of a graph. Traversal of a graph such that every edge should be visited or traversed exactly once. There should not be edge repetition. Exactly once. No edge repetition should be there. So when you are traversing the graph such that every edge is to be repeated or visited once, and if this traversal starts and ends at the same point, then we can say that there exists a Euler circuit in the graph, and if Euler circuit exists, it is treated as an Euler graph. It is a Euler graph. Is it clear, ma? Euler graph means a graph which contains a Euler circuit, and Euler circuit means a trail which starts and ends at the same point or same vertex. Trail means the traversal of the graph such that every edge should be visited exactly once. Edge repetition should not be there. Now let's see some examples on this. Consider a graph with 5 vertices like this. Right? Now check whether this is a Euler graph or not, whether it is an Euler graph or not. That means we have to check for Euler circuit condition, whether there exists Euler circuit or not, that we need to check. So start from any vertex, start traversing the graph from any vertex, visit all the edges exactly once and come back to the same vertex. If yes, then we can say that it is an Euler graph. Wait for 1 minute. Hello? Hello? Evaru? Evaru? So let us start from this vertex. Any vertex you can start. You can take any vertex as the initial vertex. Suppose if I start from 2, each edge should be visited once. So I'll just mark whichever the vertices are visited. So 2 to 1. From 1 to 3. 3 to 4. 4 to 5. 5 to 1. Sorry, 5 to 3. Here, the vertices can be repeated. Remember that point, but the edge should not be repeated. Here, this vertex 3 has visited 2 times, but edges should not be repeated. 3 to 2, right? So when you traverse this graph, starting from the vertex 2, you have visited all the vertices and you have come back to 2, the same vertex 2. You can say that it is an Euler circuit. Therefore, the given graph is a Euler graph. So in this, the vertices can be repeated in number of times, but no edge should be repeated. When you observe this thing, no edge is visited more than once. Every edge is visited exactly once. Therefore, it is a Euler graph. Clear? Let us see one more example. Now consider this graph. Check whether it is a Euler graph or not. Is it a Euler graph or not? Start from any vertex. Start traversing through all the edges. Let me start from 5. I can reach 5 to 1. From 1, I can go to 3. From 3, I can go to 4. From 4, you can go to 2. From 2, you can go to 1. Now, from where you still have 2 more edges to be visited and you are unable to come back when you choose this path. When you choose this path, you are stuck at the vertex 1. Why? Because from 1 you are unable to visit these 2 edges and come back to the vertex. So let me choose some other traversal. So here from 5 I can reach 1. From 1 here I have go to 3. Let me mark like this. From 1, instead of going to 3, let me go to 2. 1 to 2. From 2 to 3. From 3 to 4, you can go to 4. From 4 to, you can go to. Now here also, you are stuck at the vertex 2. Why? Because from 2, you have to go to either 1 or you can go either 3. But these two edges are already visited. So like that, you have to check for all the remaining possibility. Let me check the remaining possibilities. Let me go from 5 to 4, 4 to 2, 2 to 1, 1 to 3, 3 to. Again, you are coming back to 3 to 2. So here, again, you are stuck at point 2. Let me check the remaining possibility. 5 to 4, 4 to 3, 3 to 2, 2 to 1, 1 to 5. So still there are some edges which aren't satisfied. So like this, you have to try all the possibilities. So when you try all these possibilities, here you are unable to visit all the edges and unable to come back to the starting vertex. Therefore, this given graph is not an Euler graph. It is not an Euler graph. Clear now? Because there does not exist a Euler circuit. There doesn't exist a Euler circuit, so it is not an Euler graph. Is it clear? Let me give you one more example. So consider this graph and check whether there exists a Euler circuit or not in this graph. So start traversing. Suppose if you start from here, you can go from 6 to 1. 6 to 1. From 1, I can go to 2. From 2, we can go to 3. From 3, we can go to 1 again. Many possibilities are there. I'm just checking any one possibilities. If that is satisfied, okay. Otherwise, I have to check for another possibility. From 1, I can go to 4. From 4, you can go to either 5 or 2. Let me go to 2. From 2, you can go to 5. From 5, you can go to either 4 or 3 or 6. Let me go to 3. From 3, you can have to go to 4. From 4, we have to go to 5. From 5, you have to go to 6. So, now if you observe this traverse, you have visited, yes, all the edges are visited how many times? Exactly once. All the edges are visited exactly once. Therefore, you can say that there exists an Euler graph and this is Euler circuit. This is an Euler graph. Is it clear, ma? Is it clear for you all? But what happens with this with this approach is, suppose if the number of vertices, consider the second example which I gave you, something like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, So when you observe in this example, we have to check all the possibilities to decide that it is not an Euler graph. Right? Similarly, in this case also here, where in this part we have concluded that it is not, it is an Euler circuit. There exists an Euler circuit. Suppose if this path, by using this path, if you decide that it is not an Euler circuit, then you have to choose the remaining possibilities, because there are many possibilities. From 6 we have go to 1. If this doesn't result in Euler circuit, we have to go to 5. So if that also does not result in Euler circuit, you have to check for the remaining possibility. Like that, if the number of vertices are increasing, then more number of possibilities you have to check to decide whether the graph is Euler graph or not. Right? But that will be difficult. Suppose if some 10 vertices are there, then it is very difficult for you to decide whether there exists a Euler circuit or not. That is the reason we have one more approach, one simple approach to decide whether there exists an Euler circuit in the graph, whether it is an Euler graph or not. So another approach to decide whether the given graph is Euler graph or not is, so if there exists a Euler circuit in the graph, if there exists an Euler circuit, then degree of the every vertex will be even. So what we have to do, instead of checking all the possibilities, so here we got the point that if there exists a Euler circuit, then degree of all the vertices is even. So what we can do is, we will check the degree of all the vertices first. If all the vertices are having an even degree, then you can simply say that it is a Euler graph. No need to check for all the possible combinations of our Euler circuit. Clear, ma? You need to just identify, find out the degree of the vertex. If it is a even number, then it is a Euler graph. Let me take the same example what we considered in the previous case. So here we have concluded that this graph is an Euler graph. We have identified one Euler circuit, right? Now what we can do is, let us find out the degrees of all the vertices. Without going for all the possibilities, let me find out the degrees of the vertices. If it is even, then it is a Euler graph. So what is the degree of 1? 1 and 2. Degree of 2, 1 and 2. Degree of 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. What is the degree means? Degree of a vertex is number of edges incident with it. Degree of 4 is 1 and 2. Degree of 5 is 1 and 2. So when you observe these numbers 2 and 4, these are all even numbers. So if it is an even number, means the graph contains an Euler circuit and it is a Euler graph. Is it clear now? Now take the second one. The second example, we have concluded that it is not a Euler graph because there does not exist an Euler circuit, right? So find out the degrees of the vertices. Degree of a vertex 1 is 1, 2, 3. So here the degree of this first vertex is 3, which is an odd number. So for an Euler circuit, all the vertices should contain even degree. But here, if any one vertex is not satisfying this condition, you no need to check the degree of the remaining vertices. You can simply say that there does not exist an Euler circuit and the given graph is not an Euler graph. Clear? Now we'll see that the next graph with 6 vertices. So here we have concluded that there exists an Euler circuit by using the trial method. Let me go with this direction degree of 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. Degree of 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. For 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 is 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 is 1, 2, 3, 4. 6 is 1, 2. So when you observe these numbers, these are all even numbers. Therefore, there exists an Euler circuit and it is a Euler graph. Clear, ma? So in this way, by finding the degrees, we can find out, we can conclude whether it is a Euler graph or not. Right? So overall, what are the two conditions to be satisfied for an Euler graph? The two conditions to be satisfied for Euler graph is starting vertex should be the ending vertex. Second is every edge should be visited exactly once. These are the two conditions to be satisfied for an Euler circuit or Euler graph, and this can be find out by using the possible or by checking all the possible combinations or by finding the degrees of the vertex. Clear? Next is semi-Euler graph. Semi-Euler graph. There is a small difference between Euler graph and semi-Euler graph. Is it clear now for you all? So for a semi-Euler graph, there should be a trail. That's it. And for an Euler graph, this trail should start and ends at the same vertex. But this condition need not be satisfied for an Euler graph. Trail means what? Every edge should be visited exactly once. So the condition for trail is every edge should be visited exactly once. And 1 second. Hello, Varsha. Varsha. So for an semi-Euler graph, there should exist a trail. That means every edge should be visited exactly once. But that trail may or may, that trail no need to start and ends at the same vertex. The second condition may not be satisfied. Clear? So consider this example as so when you consider here, there exists an Euler circuit. There exists a trail. That means every edge will be visited once. So 2 to 1, 1 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5, 5 to 3. So here all the edges are visited exactly once, but this is not coming back to the starting vertex. So we don't have an edge to come back to the starting vertex. Still we can say that it is an Euler. See, we'll say it as semi-Euler graph, not exactly the Euler graph. We'll say it as semi-Euler graph. Clear? For an Euler graph, this trail should ends at the same vertex. For an Euler semi-Euler graph, only the edges should be visited exactly once. That is the only condition. So in the previous case, to know whether there exists an Euler circuit or not, how we have find out without checking all the possibilities, we have just calculated the degrees of the vertices. If all the vertices are having the even degree, then it is Euler graph. But in the same way, you can decide whether the graph is semi-Euler or not. Right? So for that, what is the condition to be satisfied is another approach to check whether it is an semi-Euler graph is or not is that you have to find the degrees of all the vertices. Degree of all the vertices should be even except two vertices. Except, that means these two vertices will have odd degree. Except these two vertices, every other vertex in the graph should have even degree. These two vertices are generally the starting vertex and the ending vertex. Suppose if this path starts and ends at the same vertex, then what will happen? The starting vertex will have the degree as even. The degree as even. Suppose if you don't have this, then the starting vertex will have what, ma? The starting vertex will have only one as the degree, that is odd degree. That is the reason here you are not ending with the same vertex. So the starting and ending vertex will not have an even degree. Except these two, every other vertex in the graph should have an even degree. Then you can say that it is a semi-Euler graph. Let me find out the degrees for the same example. So we have concluded that this is an semi-Euler graph. This is an semi-Euler graph. So here, let me find out the degrees. If except the two vertices, if all other are having even degree, then it is semi-Euler. Degree of 1 is 1 and 2. Degree of 2 is 1. For 3, it is 1 and 2. For 4 also it is 1 and 2. For 5, it is 1 and 2. 1 second. Degree of 3 is 1, 2, 3. Sorry, degree of 3 is 3. Okay. So here you have concluded that this is the starting vertex and this is the ending vertex. How? 2 to 1, 1 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5, 5 to 3. So this is the starting vertex except the starting and ending. What is this? Starting vertex is 1, which is an odd number. Ending vertex is 3, which is an odd degree. Except these two vertices, remaining all the vertices 3, 4, 5. Sorry, 1, 4, 5. Remaining all vertices should contain even degree. Therefore, you can say that this graph is semi-Euler graph. Is it clear, ma? Have you understood? The next concept is Hamilton path. This Hamilton path is also similar to this Euler graph only. Only difference is in case of Euler graph, every edge you are visiting exactly once. Every edge should be visited exactly once. But here for this Hamilton path, you'll consider the vertices. Here for Hamilton graph, you'll consider the vertices. So a graph is said to be Hamilton graph if there exists a Hamilton circuit or Hamilton path. A graph is said to be a Hamilton graph if there exists an Hamilton circuit or Hamilton path. What is this Hamilton circuit? A Hamilton circuit is the one which it is something like the traversal of a graph such that the traversal of a graph such that every vertex should be visited exactly once. Every vertex. For Euler graph, you are talking about the edges. So for Hamilton graph, every vertex should be visited exactly once. Exactly once. Edges may be repeated. You may repeat the traversal of the edges more than one time. Clear? Let So consider this graph and check whether it is a Hamilton graph or not. So Hamilton graph means what? There should exist a Hamilton circuit. Whenever I use the word circuit, circuit means what, ma'am? It should start and ends at the same point. Do we call it as a circuit? No, it is not a circuit. Circuit means it is something like a round shape. Round shape means what, ma'am? Starting and ending point should be the same. So for Hamilton circuit also, every vertex should be visited exactly once and it should come back to the starting vertex. The traversal or that path should be there. Let me check in this graph, do we have that circuit or not, right? So let me start traversing from A, then you can go to B, A to B, B to C, C to D, D to E. Concentrate on the vertices, ma, not on the edges. D to E. So every vertex should be visited. This is visited, 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 and you have come back to the starting vertex. Therefore, you can say that it is an Hamilton circuit and the graph is a Hamilton graph. Consider one more. Suppose if you consider this graph, is it a Hamilton circuit or not? I mean, is it a Hamilton graph or not? Suppose if you start from A to B, B to C. So A is visited, B is visited, C is visited. After C, either you can go to C or you can go to E. C or D or E. If you go to D, you cannot visit, you are unable to visit E. If you go to E, you are unable to visit D. And you are unable to come back to the starting vertex. So you are unable to visit all the vertices and unable to come to the starting vertex. Therefore, it is not a Hamilton graph. This is not a Hamilton graph. So when you consider this graph, let us start from this A to B, B to E, E to D, D to C, C to E. So when you observe this, all the vertices A, B, C, D, E, all are visited and you have come back to the starting vertex. Therefore, it is a Euler circuit. Sorry, Hamilton circuit or Hamilton graph. So what type of graph it is? What type of graph it is? Undirected. Okay. I mean, types of graphs I did told you know. Regular graph, complete graph, null graph. So bipartite graph. What type of complete graph? Yes, it is a complete graph. So from A to B, A to C, A to D, B to C, B to D, C to D. So we between every pair of vertices there exists a path. So it is a complete graph. Let us check whether it is an Hamilton graph or not. So start from A to B, B to C, C to D, D to A. Okay. So we have visited all the 4 vertices and you have come back to the starting vertex. So with this you can say that all the complete graphs. And remember that what is the minimum complete graph? The minimum complete graph. The complete graph with minimum number of vertices is K2, right? So you can have a complete graph with minimum of 2 vertices, which is like this, right? But This you cannot treat it as a Hamilton graph. Why? Because with the two vertices you can come back, you cannot come back to the starting vertex, so it is not a circuit. So a complete graph with minimum with n greater than 3, greater than or equal to 3, with n greater than or equal to 3 is treated as a Hamilton graph. Every complete graph with number of vertices are greater than or equivalent to 3 is treated as a complete graph. Clear? Next, consider one more. Last one is so when you observe this graph, you can by observing this, you can say that it is a cycle. There exists a cycle, right? While drawing the graph itself, you can identify that there exists a cycle. Cycle means what? It is like a circuit only. So in this graph only you have the name circuit. Therefore, you can say that there exists a Hamilton circuit. That means it is a Hamilton graph. Let me check whether you have a path or not. A to B, B to C, C to D, D to F, F to E, E to A. Visited all the 6, A, B, C, D, E, F, all are visited and come back to the starting vertex. Therefore, you can say that every closed circuit or every closed loop is also a Hamilton graph. Every complete graph with n greater than or equal to 3 is a complete graph, is a Hamilton graph. Every closed loop or every cycled graph is also a complete graph. Okay? So, why? Because in case of Euler graph, if the number of vertices are more, then it is difficult for us to verify the Euler circuit. So, we have identified one more approach, that is finding the degrees of the vertices. Using the degrees of the vertices, we can conclude or we can verify whether the graph is Euler graph or not. But that is not possible with Hamilton graph. For Hamilton graph, we don't have any simple approach to check whether there exists a Hamilton circuit or not. You have to verify all the possibilities except for complete graph and for a closed loop. If a complete graph is given, you can simply say that it is a Hamilton graph. If a closed loop like this, whatever I gave you, if a closed loop like this is given, you can simply say that it is a Hamilton graph. So other than these, whatever the graphs I gave you earlier, whatever so other than these two graphs, closed circuits and complete graph, if any other graph is given, you have to verify all the possibilities, all the possible combinations are to be verified. It's like trial and error method. You have to try all the possibilities and you have to check whether there exists a Hamilton circuit or not. That is the reason we'll call it as a non-complete, non-polynomial problem. Non-polynomial problem is we don't know when do we get the result. ఎప్పుడు రిజల్ట్ వస్తుందో నాకు తెలియదు. ఫర్ విచ్ ట్రయల్ ఐ గెట్ ద రిజల్ట్ that I don't know. That is known as non-polynomial problem. The Euler graph is a polynomial problem. Why? Because if you find the degrees of the vertices, pakka you will get the answer. But that is not possible with non-polynomial problems. So Hamilton graphs are non-polynomial problems. Euler graphs are polynomial problems. Is it clear? So this is about today's session. In the next class, I'll start the one more important topic, that is shortest path problem. So